So today I'm going to show you how to install Bully Scholarship Edition on Linux Mint. And the reason why I'm making this video is because a lot of people can't figure out how to get this game to actually run and work in this day and age. So like on Windows 10 and 11, it's so broken that it doesn't work. But on Linux, you can actually install it, and it mostly works fine. The only problem with it is if you have an AMD GPU, for some reason the intro video doesn't play. So you'll have to go into the game files and edit the name so that way it just skips over those videos. But if you have a NVIDIA GPU with the proprietary drivers, for some reason it works fine, so the intro videos play fine. But if you do have an AMD GPU, there's only two intro videos. There's the intro that plays when you run the game, and then there's the intro when you start a brand new game. And then other than that, the game has no other videos in it. All of the cutscenes are like, they're not pre-rendered. So everything in the game works perfectly fine from my experience. So let's get into it. Now, there are different ways that you can install games. In this example, I'm going to be using Lutris. It's what I prefer. And I also don't have a DVD drive with this computer, so I have the game files already extracted to my desktop. But your game files could be anywhere. So you're going to click on this to add a new game, and then you're going to add a locally install, well, no, actually. You're going to install a Windows game from an executable, my bad. Then just type in the name. You're going to change the installer present to Windows XP 32-bit. You have to do this. If you try to install it on the Windows 10 prefix, it'll have horrible graphical glitches, so don't do that. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to install it onto an external, or it's still internal, but I want to install it to a different drive. Alright, so now go to the games files, the install files, click on the setup, click on install. Also, even though the install for this game works perfectly fine, for some reason the patch does not. So there's no way that I figured out to actually patch the game to the newer version. But despite not being able to patch the game to the newer version, I haven't had any issues with it crashing. I've played for hours and hours and hours on end, and I didn't have issues with it crashing. Meanwhile, on Windows, even on Windows Vista, way back in the day when I used to play this game, it would often randomly crash because it would run out of memory or something. It was something to do with a memory issue. But yeah, I haven't had that issue on Linux. One other downside is that the game is locked to 30 frames per second. I know that's kind of disgusting, but that's how the game was meant to be run. So if you try and modify the game to run it at a higher frame rate, that's actually going to introduce some glitches and bugs that you don't really want. Like, I think it breaks the game in some areas. Okay, so now the game is installing. Once the game is done installing, you will need to use winetricks and install some prefixes in order for the game to actually run. If you just install it and try and launch it as is, it will not launch. You will just get, I don't think that you'll even get a screen. It just won't launch and it'll be stuck that way. So, alright, after a lot of waiting, it's finally done. So, finish. This should complete. Hit close. Select your game. Then go into winetricks. Click OK. Click the top one. Alright. So you're going to want to check this one. It's D3DX9. You're going to want VC Run 2005 and VC Run 2008. Oh, there it is, xact. You're going to want xact, and I believe that's it, if my memory is correct here. So not a whole lot of prefixes. Then just right-click, go into your game files. This is if you have an AMD GPU. You'll want to go into the game files, and you will want to rename the game files for the videos. Let's get out of here. Probably, nope, not that one. It's under movies. Here it is. So here are the videos that don't want to play. So I'll just rename it. And it's only 2. They don't really matter that much, but if you want to watch some, you can just open it up. And that should be it. The game should launch. Okay, so for some reason, Lutris decided to select the uninstaller. We can fix that, so just go into configure. Under game options, change the executable. And we're just going to change it to booly.exe. Now we can launch the game. And there it is, it's running. Now just go into settings. You're going to want to change the resolution. The game supports up to 4K. With this monitor, I can only play in 1080. I don't think that ultra wide works correctly. And now you can just max everything out. It requires a game restart, so I will restart it. Make sure it saved everything. It did. Go into story mode. Controls. I like to have a much higher mouse sensitivity. Maybe that's good. Yeah, that's a lot better. You can also play this game with an Xbox controller. Wow, he just kicked me. Also, you'll notice that there's black bars on the side of the screen. That's only because I have an ultra-wide monitor. But if I had a normal monitor, the game would look normal. So if I play this on my TV and I play in 4K, there's no glitching, there's no artifacts. The game looks the way it's supposed to look. The only downside is that it's locked to 30 frames per second, so it's really not the most smooth game to play. But it is playable. It looks as good as it did back when it was released, and when you played this on Windows XP or Windows Vista. Everything works fine. I haven't had any crashing issues. And all the in-game cutscenes work as well. Alright, that's all there is to it. So I'll close out the game and end this video.